and then if you find nobody uses, maybe good to experiment to see how it can be done with this, but you are undergoing a risk, because the project, as it's going to be the most important component piece of work, you should do it with lesser risk. Now that is why we have also restricted research based projects. Now what we mean by research based is to try something new, or to come up with some new ideas or new solutions as part of the solution. Now that is because the time period to research new developments and to come up with new ideas, and you need a longer time period.
Yeah.
So if somebody tries to do it within a year, it is possible, but it can be done as a carrying forward somebody else's already findings and then going, because if you start from scratch, you don't know what the current latest state. So when you research and find the current state, the year has gone. Then if you implement that, then it's nothing new you are implementing. So that's why we always forced to go to a client and work with traditional sort of business solutions, which is adequate to demonstrate that you have learned how to apply the theories, how to use tools and techniques. Now,
and how about the do we expect the students to program their system from the beginning, or is it possible, if it is available, they can use some open source?
Yeah. Now the purpose of open source is to share some developments from of others, and then to build on top of that. So reinventing something already there, if it is freely available, is again waste of resources. Now if some part of your requirement is already developed and tested by somebody and the source code is available, then from the client point of view, client will ask, why do you want to redo it, and your outcome may not be as good as that. So in such case, trying to reuse is one option. Now reusing is acceptable, but at the end we must know your contribution with respect to the entire solution.
Yeah. So their contribution must be to the acceptable level.
Yeah, it should be to an acceptable level. That is, they should have still spent the 300 hours. Out of that can be some hours, like 50 hours, to study the open source code of somebody. But then you have to enhance with your own contribution and have your part. Now when you develop using open source, another component is you are supposed to recontribute to the same society so that others can use your code. So once you do that, then your part is automatically acknowledged and known, and you can easily justify that this is my part and this is what I use from somebody. Now example, there are so many libraries. Now if you want to sort a set of data, you have learned how to sort using different algorithms. But why do you want to write a sorting program when you can call a library and sort it automatically? So we expect you to use those libraries. You don't have to waste time in reinventing some other automated tasks. That is why you are supposed to use tools, technologies, or open source, whatever available can be used. Now when doing a project for a client, now most of the projects are actually things that cannot be done by one individual. It is done as a teamwork, and you have several designers, code writing people, documentation people. That's how organization work. That is because it's more productive when you do as a teamwork. But with respect to the individual project, what we are expecting is an individual contribution. which means you should be able to identify your contribution even you do something as part of a larger project. So the easiest way to do is you do a particular module of that, so that you can isolate your contribution from the rest, and then you demonstrate your part. You can say, I am using somebody else's database, somebody else's data, or somebody else's some connection to some other part, but this is my part of it, and that part has adequate amount of work to justify your contribution.
Dr. Gyan, you said that the students are expected to spend about 300 hours on the project. And could you explain what you mean by these hours of work?
Yeah. Now,
how the students can understand what it meant by 300 of hours on projects?
Yeah. Let me first go through a system development life cycle. Now, you would have learned through the system analysis course that there are various phases. Now, for example, I just took one of the diagrams which identify feasibility, analysis, design, implementation, testing, maintenance. And it's a cyclic process because you have to revisit and redesign and or reanalyze or gather more information and go according to the needs. Now, the individual project also falls into a cycle which have a lot of these components. Now, the first part what we mentioned was to find a project. Now, the finding a project involves some related components. Client is one thing that was mentioned. The supervisor is another component, and then some problem domain information and so forth. Now, to do that part, you need to spend some time. Now, at the start of the project, what we expect you to do is something on that line. So, after you sit the second year exams, while waiting for the results of the third year or waiting to start to study third year courses, you can think about or look at what type of projects others have done, what are the possible projects, and then you have some interest. Now, your interest can be based on your own idea or by talking to people, your friends, potential supervisors and people like that. And then once you get the idea and then you finalize, you go through the other process of the project. Now, the project process with respect to the university is when you submit the project proposal only, we know that you are doing this type of project. But to do that, you have already done 20-30 hours of work to find the project. And it's not possible to find the project in one go. You may study that and you have to see, you have to think ahead now. Once you identify a project, you have to think ahead what you will be doing next, what would be the final outcome, how you would face the evaluation process, what will happen if you can't meet what client is asking within the time period, or what if the examiners think what you have done is not adequate. You must think about all those. That means you are planning with respect to the scope of the project to see, will the project allow me to work for 300 hours?
Right.
Now, sometimes client may tell you